Hey everyone, and welcome to the special summer series of the Yogi Misfit Sessions. So I wanted to give a little intro before me and Susannah get into the show, but this was by request by a few of you guys. A lot of people had some questions. They were kept coming up in classes, and so I decided to create this little summer series just to go over things that you guys wanted. It was so much fun to have Susannah on the show. She got to take the lead. I got to take the lead. And we just all around had a really good time doing it. So I hope you enjoy these bonus episodes. As a reminder, you can now find us on Spotify. So you can search the Yogi Misfit Sessions, or you can search under Danny Pomploon. And of course, if you love the podcast, please write a review on iTunes. It really does help support the show. Enjoy the next 4 bonus episodes of the Yogi Misfit Sessions. Thanks. Hey everyone, and welcome to a special summer series of the Yogi Misfit Session. I'm Danny Pomploon.
And I'm Susannah Freedman.
What? Susannah, you're on the show.
I know, I'm so excited.
Why don't you tell the listeners what they're in for this special summer series?
Well, I'm just really excited because we've been trying to do something like this forever, and we finally got it together and figured out how to do it. And so we're going to be going over some questions that people sent to us and some topics that people wanted to cover. And today, I think we're going to start with keeping it real in the yoga world.
Yeah, we are going to keep it real in the yoga world.
Yeah. No fake yogis here.
Susannah, can I just tell you how excited I am about this?
Yes.
How many times have I texted you about how excited I am about this?
Pretty much daily.
I really am, though, because the banter is just going to be so good. I think
people are still listening. God bless them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to pull it together.
Welcome to the next 30 minutes, everyone.
Yeah, welcome to the next 30 minutes of your life that you cannot get back. All right, let's just dive right into the show. So again, for those of you that are just tuning in, so we pretty much just went on Facebook and Instagram and we're like, we're going to do this summer series. What do you guys want to hear about? And we broke it down into 4 different subsections, or so 4 different sections rather. And in those sections, we kind of grouped these questions together. And so today's episode is all about keeping it real. And a lot of the stuff was actually, I don't know, Susannah, you could probably agree. A lot of it had to do with like social media and how you just show up as a person in yoga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question that we got was, how does authenticity translate into the realm of yoga? And I was like, I didn't get it at first, but then we kind of started talking about it a little bit, and we were like, all right, it's like, how do you show up to be yourself? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that question is really interesting because it can cover so many different, like topics and different ways of how we show up, and not only how we show up for students, how we show up for our practice, how we show up for like the lineage of the practice. You know, we carry this history with us. Mm-hmm. And so it's basically like, are you walking your talk? You know, mm-hmm. is how I see it.
What do you think it means then to like, I mean, what do you think it means, like authenticity outside of just how you show up and walking your talk, but like in being a yogi per se?
So I think, well, I always like wonder if the term yogi is the right term to use for myself. I hold that on like a really high pedestal, and maybe I shouldn't. Obviously my life is about yoga. So, yeah, you know, maybe I'm a yogi. But I think what it means is that you really discipline yourself to consistent practice, and to working, like it's not something you learn and then you never have to go back and check it again, you know?
Right.
It's this evolving thing, and you have to let the philosophy show up for you in a different way. You have to learn from your body every day in a different way. Mm-hmm. So it's this like it's a living practice, you know?
Yeah.
So the authenticity part to me is just like, keep doing the work. That's what it means to me.
I couldn't agree more. I also, I also think it means, I mean, beyond just keep doing the work, but like show up as you are, meaning knowing what you do know and what you don't know, and be okay with those things, like being okay that you don't know everything, whether you're a teacher or a student, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that, like, especially because I'm really lucky enough now to teach in the Love Story Yoga teacher training. And I remember this feeling from my first teacher training of being like, I can't teach. There is so much I don't know. Like,
Hmm.
I can't, like, or like, and students come up to me after teacher training all the time and just be like, oh my God, wait, but I don't even know so much. And it's like, yeah, well, I've been studying this stuff for 8 years, if not longer, and I still don't know so much. And
Right.
like you said, you just teach what you know. And I think that students like can feel that. Students know when it's can I cuss on this podcast?
100%.
Great. Okay. Students know when it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
First off, bullshit isn't cussing.
it's not.
I don't think so. Is it?
I think it is. Maybe not.
Oh.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Growing up it was, so it still is for me. Um yeah, and I think that for the person too, like I know that when I'm out of alignment, or if in the moments when I've tried to speak on something that I actually don't really know about, like it feels really terrible,
Yeah.
you know,
And I mean, you not only does it feel really terrible for you, but other people can pick up on that.
for sure. Yeah. My teacher says like you can tell when someone is just parroting something they've heard
Right.
versus like something that is an experience that they've gone through and worked with and lived with.
But it's also a feeling too. You can feel that coming from the other person as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm down with that. All right. We're going to move right on. And I'm like, because we have a few things to cover. This next one, I feel like we're going to spend a lot of time on because I have a lot to say on it. So the next question that came up, and we kept in this keeping it real, was yoga and social media. Is it right? Is it wrong? All of the things. Susannah, do you start or do I start? I don't even know where to start on this.
I don't even know where to start either. I mean, there are so many, like, this is a tricky one. And
I know.
slippery
I know.
slope. And especially in terms of authenticity, like right now, it's so funny that there's like, I told my boyfriend who doesn't practice.
Hmm.
And I was like, there's just drama in the yoga world right now. And he just started laughing so hard. And he's like, there's drama in the yoga world? Like, I think that's also a misconception that people have, which is a totally different conversation. But anyways, there's all this drama going on right now on Instagram about authenticity and
Hmm.
about being sponsored and about kind of subversive advertisement tactics.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's a good time to have this conversation. It's just like really tricky.
I think here's my thing with it. Here's my thing. I think that if you are, there's a big difference between acrobatics and yoga,
Totally.
and there's a big difference between contortion and yoga.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're going to call something yoga, let it be yoga, and if you're going to do contortion, call it contortion.
Totally.
Now that's not to say that yoga evolves and changes or whatever, but if you're doing contortion, you're doing contortion, call it contortion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not knocking that. What I get caught up on is that I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I never will know what it's like to be a woman, but I know that you guys already have to do or deal with rather body shaming and what you're supposed to look like. And like, it's not like that for dudes a lot. I see it way more for women. Like you have to look sexy, you have to be sexy, blah, 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 like makeup and all the things,
Yeah.
And then you add Instagram on top of that, and you have people that are coming into class to better themselves or to be in their body. And I feel like there's just this other level of pressure that you also have to look and fit a certain way. And yeah, yoga is marketed that way. And I think that sucks.
It totally sucks. And I think that one of the reasons I have stayed on social media, well, it's like annoyingly part of the job now. For me,
100%. Yeah.
for me, annoyingly, I don't think it's a bad thing in general. It's just like not my jam. But
Well, because we want to teach yoga. We don't want to sit on our phones all day.
right. And also, but like, so the thing that has kept me with it is to be like, if this stuff is getting put out into the world and this is here, I want to make sure that I'm putting out like honest, not always positive, but hopefully helpful information, or just something that will like lighten people's day, or and of course there are those things like we have to sell our workshops, we have to sell our retreats, like it is a business, this is our job, so there is that side of it, but most of
Mhm.
my posts um are really about like the heart of yoga.
Right.
And so like that's why I even stick with it, I guess. And I think what you mentioned about like women and body shaming and all that stuff is, and it's just the culture that we're in, unfortunately, is like, posts that I post of myself, like when I'm on retreat in a bikini or something,
Hmm.
get so many more likes than like something that I took a really long time to thoughtfully plan out, that I've been thinking about for a long time. You know what I mean? Like it's a trip. Like just to see the kind of clickbaitness of it.
Right.
Um, so yeah, and I read like with the whole drama that's going on in the yoga world right now, like people are being cruel to each other.
Right.
It's
Right.
terrible. I can't even believe it. But like there's on stories, I follow this one woman who's on one side of it, on one side of this issue, which happens to be the same side that I fall on.
Hmm.
And she like another follower of hers, tell me if you're getting lost in this story because sometimes
Okay.
I'm telling stories. Another follower of hers sent her a screenshot of a message that she had gotten from someone she didn't know, who
Okay.
was representing a brand.
Hmm.
And the message that she received, like directly from this person, was, "You're so fat. How are you so unhealthy? You should worry about yourself, and like you're disgusting." Literally, it said you're disgusting. Um, and it like blew my mind. So I hope that more yogis, like real yogis who don't want to speak out of cruelty, who don't want to speak out of hate and malice, I hope those people start posting more. And it
Hmm.
kind of like prods me to post more, because that stuff needs to be drowned out by the good stuff. And right now,
Right.
the good stuff is being totally drowned out by the bad stuff.
I agree with you 100% on a few things. Like I notice as well, like when I, post a picture of me in a bikini, my likes go through the roof.
Yeah. I mean, you in a bikini is a sight, though.
It's really something special.
It is really special. Yeah. I don't even know if that word truly describes
Scarring.
the visual image.
No, like, when I post, I don't really, until recently actually, as I was injured, but I never really posted pictures of me in poses, like, doing big things. I actually just kind of kept it to like the student base and little messages yeah, because I believe in that. And I actually love sharing that, like reminding people to love themselves and reminding people that like we're worth it and all that fun stuff. But the truth is some of those don't get as many likes, and it's not that like I'm caught up on the like thing, but I also do use this platform for business. Yeah. And I used to get really caught up on that. Like, this is like my main platform for business. Da, 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 da. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm just sharing a part of my life and a part of my passion. And if people don't like that, that's okay. I don't need their approval on that anymore.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Does
totally.
that make sense?
Totally.
Going to the other thing, I mean, it's so easy for people to hide behind a keyboard and send a message like that. Like, it's so easy for people to do that, like cyberbullying and all that stuff. Like, but really, how much yoga are you practicing if you're sending a message like that to somebody else? Like, where are you? Well, let's go back to like, like the authenticity. How authentic are you being, by going and, shaming somebody for their like
Right.
what
Well,
right do you have?
also, like, my teacher's teacher, Dharma Mitra, he says, no yamas, no yoga. And the first yama, like the first rule, is kindness. And
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that you can't disagree with people. That doesn't mean that you can point out when you feel like people are misusing whatever or being abused or all of that stuff. It's not saying like you have to be a nice person. I'm always big on separating nice and kind. Like I think
Right.
two different things.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like where is the kindness?
Right.
Where's the kindness? It
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, yeah, and kind of like what you said, like for me, I just go back to doing my thing on my social media. Really, I have fun with my Instagram. I like going on stories and just sharing different bits and parts.
Totally.
There's definitely a component of like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, I share things that I'm doing on there. Of course, it's a tool for sure, but it's not like I do way better in person than I do online.
Oh my God. So I have a story to tell you. Um,
Okay.
Basically, I'm like a disaster human being online and with anything technological.
I hate to break it to you, Susanna. It's not just online.
Okay. Well, little side note, as we were setting up for this podcast, of course, my computer wouldn't work just because I like couldn't figure out how to click this one button. Anyways,
Susanna, my yoga wife, ladies and gentlemen.
no, I don't even remember what I was. Oh, my story. So I have an incredible business manager who I just adore, and she is so supportive. And um, we're talking about like I'm doing this retreat in July and about how to fill spots and sell it because it is a business.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, do I need more Instagram followers? Like, what do I? And her soon to be husband run this company together. So they both
Mm-hmm.
kind of manage me, but she's the main person.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I love that I have to be managed. But uh, she was like, you know what, Susanna, forget, like, people need to see you in person. Like, you do not come off, not, she didn't say like poorly, but like, you don't come off in person, online the same way you do in person. So, like, forget Instagram, like, just keep teaching and like keep doing what you're doing, And
Right.
I thought that was a really nice weight lifted off my shoulders. But I agree with you that, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not great online.
I just don't think that, like, I mean, again, it's a tool, but really the magic happens when you're in person.
Yeah. But then
At least for me. For me.
yeah, and I also don't want to bash on Instagram. I want to kind of end this little section on a positive note because
No, 100%. Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad at all. None of the social media stuff is bad. I'm saying when it turns into bullying and even those big, like, those contortion and stuff like that, like that stuff's not bad. Some of that stuff is inspiring.
right,
But I also think that it walks a fine line. I think you have to be careful. You can get caught up on it, or you can kind of step back.
totally. Like, what are you getting hooked into? What about that post are you getting hooked into?
What's your why? That's my, like, I always come back to that. What's your why?
That's a great one. Yeah. But one of the lovely things about Instagram is like, yeah, being really inspired by people and then like connecting with people from around the world who are just like, who I will email and or write a message to and just be like, thank you for your post. Meant a lot to me. Or I'll get a message that says something similar or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a really beautiful thing. As we're becoming more and more of a global community, like I,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that that's what a global community looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I agree. And I think that the more people we have out there, like, we can actually like support each other.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
All right. All right. I'm moving into the next and final topic. This one I added myself, but it was asked to me. Someone asked me in person, didn't send it in, but like, what is home practice and what does it look like? And does her specific thing was like, Danny, like, what's your home practice look like? And I was like, well, it just depends on the day. And I was like, sometimes I just like lay in yoga nidra for a bit. And she's like, you just sleep? And I'm like, no, it's like actually still doing yoga. And she's like, wait, I thought you guys like do like go home and do like vigorous flows. And I'm like, girl, let me keep it real with you. Like, that's not
Right.
what I do for my home practice at all. Like,
Totally.
some of the stuff that I teach you guys, I do not do in my home practice all the time.
Right.
Sometimes my home practice is legs up the wall for 30 minutes. Sometimes it's seated meditation and a couple sitting postures.
For sure.
Sometimes it's a really big flow. So home practice, I think, to me is wherever you're at in life, what you're dealing with, and also what's happening with you energetically and physically kind of dictates that. But more importantly, where you're at in that moment. Like, sometimes you need to get your ass handed to you, and other times you just need to sit back and be a little more kind and patient with yourself.
1000%. And like sometimes also, at least in my case, not I need to hand my own ass to me, if that makes sense. Like I need to kick my own ass to know that I like to remind myself of that fire sometimes, you know, like when I'm feeling kind of lethargic, like very often, oh shit. Sorry. Anyways, I think we should keep that in, by the way.
Yeah, we're totally keeping it in. This is still rolling.
When I'm feeling lethargic, there's a difference between like lethargic and just needing to be peaceful and quiet and calm in a physical way. So like when I'm feeling lethargic, I'll often like get up and do a really, really, really rigorous practice because I'm like, ugh, this is not the energy that I want to cultivate. But yeah, for sure. So often my practice is like, you know, a bunch of seated hip openers, a twist on my back, and Shavasana.
Because sometimes that's all you have time for. But not only that, sometimes like you just need that.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I tell students all the time, like the best yoga is like being present. I mean, and people don't believe me when I say this, but like there are many times when I'm in a public class where I will just go into Shavasana halfway through and just stay there. Because like that's what I need, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really listening into two aspects of it, your physical needs, but also your mental and your emotional needs.
For sure. Yeah.
The mental part, man, I don't know why. I feel like so many people are scared to like bring the emotional part of it into a practice, you know, and it's like, it's such a big part of where you're at.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that is a different kind of philosophical discussion. There's just like a misconception that we're supposed to like not feel things in the same way once we're learning how to detach.
Right.
But like we're still feeling all the feelings. It's just we're watching it from a different place.
Right. Yeah.
Ideal in the best moments. I mean, I still get caught up in my feelings all the time.
100%. Yeah, we're human.
Moments, I like watch myself feel the thing, you know.
Right.
Which just gives it more space. Gives me more space.
Susannah, I think we've done a great job at keeping it real today, especially when your phone went off.
Yeah. You know, if you want to keep it real. I have been told,
it's so true.
I have been told more than once that I am too honest. So, if you want an honest response, come to me.
So good. All right, I think that wraps up today's episode. I think we covered all the things for the questions for this little bucket. So, until the next Yogi Misfit session, this is Danny and
Susannah
saying peace out.
Bye.
Bye.